The interesting fact about this question, are you responsible for the mass building in District 3, is a question that many of you should think about and do your research. This rumor was started by a colleague that's on the board and those who are in opposition of me being reelected because I'm very transparent on who was the one who did the mass building in District 3. Residents, I need you to think for a second. How can one commissioner be involved or instrumental in the mass building of one community? I live on the Fairview Road corridor. There are about 20 subdivisions alone. If you look at the process it takes to approve developments, for it to go through planning, to go through zoning if it has to go through that process, to go through the planning commission to get approved, to come to the board of commissioners, and even applying for the development, going through the application process. That can be a 3 to 4 year period. Guess what? Commissioner Sanders hasn't been in office that long. So I need my neighbors in District 3 to think about it. When someone comes to tell you that Commissioner Sanders did all the mass building in District 3, she only been in office since 2021. Commissioner Sanders, did you just recently appeal a development? Yes, I did. That development came before the Planning Commission in April. Why there was holes or issues in regards to the approval of this development? The first one is the Sunshine Law. It was stated to me that 3 commissioners, Planning Commission, came together to discuss on how they were going to vote on this agenda item. Because there was no attorney present, they were not corrected that they could not meet and discuss on how they were going to vote on an agenda item. That Sunshine Law was broken. Number 2, those commissioners were concerned that if they did not approve the development, will Newton County be sued? There was no information guided to them that if they did deny the development in the developer appeals, it would just go to the Board of Commissioners for the final decision, which would have gave ease to those planning commissioners on if they did not approve of this development, they could have denied it. Speaking to the District 3 Planning Commissioner, there was confusion in regards to whether they had to or could they deny the development. The second thing was, all of the residents in the area were not notified. The sign was very small, so where the residents did not see it, and only 2 people showed up to the town hall meeting that was called, and the residents in the area that will be affected were not contacted. That is a huge issue, to give their feedback on how they felt that they would be hindered if this property was put in place. Their voice was suppressed. That's the other issue of why I appealed. Also, being aware that our school system in the area, that area has 4 schools. We have 2 elementaries, a middle school, and a high school that is at the capacity or reaching the capacity. Speaking to the educators and the administrators in that area, some are at capacity. If you look at the amount of people that are in a development, because now people are purchasing homes as multi-generational families, you could have up to 5 people in one house. The minimum would be 2, but we have seen that it has become a precedent here in Newton County to have at least 3 people in a home, up to 5 or more. So that brings traffic because you're adding more people. Our infrastructure is not in place. Crawl Road is not finished. Brownville Road is not finished. Salem Road hasn't even started. So you're bringing in developments without smart growth. Is Commissioner Sanders against growth? No, I'm not. I am for smart growth. Infrastructure needs to be put in place. All the things need to be put in place. Bring the school board to the table. Bring law enforcement to the table to see if we have the manpower for safety in the area. District 3 is the most dense area in Newton County with lacking of many things. Now let me express something to you. In order for something to move in that district, it takes 3 commissioners to approve. Although a commissioner can be the commissioner of the district, they cannot approve anything by themselves. What is the process of approving developments here in Newton County? Let's take a look at that. First, they have to apply. They complete the application and pay the fee through our Development Services Department. And then that team reviews the application and then move forward. Before it is placed on the agenda, either the planning or zoning, or the Board of Commissioners if it has to be rezoned, it is then publicized to the general public or the individuals in that area, also alerting those who live in the area that something is about to change, a development is coming. That can be between a 30 to 60-day process before it even becomes an agenda item on the Planning Commission agenda or the Board of Commissioners. If it has to be placed on the Planning Commission agenda, there has to be a time set for it to go on that agenda. It will not go on the agenda immediately. Then the Planning Commission reviews the development, decides on if it is feasible for the community, if it should move forward. The Planning Commission may table it for a certain amount of days where it has to be republicized and then placed back on the agenda. Then the Planning Commission makes a decision. Next, they have to find time for it to be placed on the Board of Commissioners agenda. It has to be announced again so that the public is aware. There's also a process as if zoning is going to be changed or something dramatic or different to the area, they have to alert the residents in the area. The Planning Commission can give a directive to have that developer meet with the community, or Development Service can say, we need you to have some type of town hall with the community to inform them what's coming into play. Then once it's on the Board of Commissioners agenda, it comes before the board. It does not take 1 commissioner to approve it. It takes 3 commissioners to approve it. We all deliberate, talk about it, and we may table it for another 60 days because there's certain directives we have given Development Services or that developer to either meet with the community, possibly a traffic study, or give us more information. That is the process, just the application process of a developer becoming approved before they build. Then once that is done, that developer gets all of their contractors to survey the land or have to do the infrastructure for the area. That alone can take a 2-year period at the least. So I need you to ask that question again to yourselves. How can 1 commissioner be involved? And again, how can Commissioner Sanders be the one to approve all the development in District 3? Again, if a commissioner or anyone comes to you and asks that question, you ask them, who were the commissioners that approved it? Because 1 commissioner cannot approve a development. Can 1 commissioner approve development? My neighbors, sit back and think about that question when someone comes to you and says Commissioner Sanders was the one who was involved. Newton County has 5 commissioners, and we have to have a quorum to approve anything on the agenda. What is a quorum? That consists of 3 commissioners. A supermajority is 4. So in order for anything with the Board of Commissioners of Newton County to be approved, it takes 3 commissioners. Now, although I was not in office to approve any developments, that was done by my predecessor. That means the person who was in office before me for 12 years. There is no way that Commissioner Elena Sanders, who's only been in office for just going on 3.5 years, was involved in your subdivision that probably was built in 2007. Another person's subdivision who was built in 2010. Another person's subdivision who was built in 1990 or so forth, or the early 90s. How can one commissioner or even Commissioner Sanders be instrumental in the development of District 3? My neighbors, as your current commissioner, I only have one request, one ask, and that's to please get the facts. You're going to have people during this crucial election time, this crucial runoff time, that's going to give you information that is false. If a commissioner or any individual come to you and say Commissioner Sanders was involved in a mass building of District 3, you ask them that question. You ask them this question: how were you involved? Because it takes 3 commissioners to move an agenda item, to approve an agenda item. My commissioner can't do it by herself. So when was it approved? Who did the motion? Who seconded the motion? And who were the commissioners who approved the item? Now, they may say we go along with the person who is the commissioner of that district. That is false. If you go back and look at videos, that has not been the rule for this Board of Commissioners. So ask the question, when was that development approved? Was my commissioner even in that seat when my subdivision was built? Again, get the facts. This is Commissioner Sanders, the commissioner that's going to serve the community, the commissioner that's going to fight for the people of District 3 and Newton County.